Hello, lovely people. We're back in London. Whew, that was amazing being in France with I refer to them as my awesome people, my niece and nephew, who really are awesome people. Wow, they're really awesome. So it's amazing. It's really cold here. It's freezing. I got back and it's raining. But it's amazing how 9, 10 days, and I wasn't on a complete break. I was working pretty much every day, even if it was just a little bit here and there. Um, yeah, I don't know if I had any days off properly, maybe two. But when you do what you love, you don't really need a day off because it's not really work kind of thing. So doesn't matter anyway. Anyway, I feel really happy. Yeah, I just must have filled my cup up with love because of being with my two favorite people. Yeah, whew. I feel like some healing's being done within me, within my family. I feel like I'm ready to forgive the past and close that door. And actually, a little while ago, a friend who does these, what are they called? How do you pronounce it? Mushrooms? I don't know how you say this word. Sorry, I'm just going to have to do a quick search because I really want to find the word. 1 second. Something. Psilocybin, okay? And I'm just not someone who's ever really done, drugs in recreational senses. Just, I don't know, just wasn't something that I was drawn to. It just wasn't something that I ever felt really safe with. So I never really played or experimented or had much fun with it as a lot of people did. I guess I was busy being a ballet dancer when I was younger, so I guess there's not a lot of time for getting off your face, do you know what I mean? But a friend of mine does these ceremonies but not for recreational use, for healing. And for anyone that knows me, I've been on a massive journey trying to heal the diagnosis that I had about 10 years ago of bipolar. The first time I was in hospital, they said that I'd had a psychotic episode. And they said that they weren't sure if I would ever work again. They weren't sure if I would ever recover. I was actually effectively almost like it, not a coma exactly, but I wasn't really there for 2 weeks. And I imagine that was very upsetting to my parents. I think when I wasn't living at home and they took me home, when the hospital called them and said that I'd been taken in to emergency, and my mum said that when she met me, I was about, I really lowered the mood. I didn't mean to do this. I was like really happy. And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, oh, it's a really sad story. But anyway, I'll just tell you a little bit. But anyway, she met me and I was like, she had to get me children's clothes because I was like so thin, and I was having hallucinations, and she took me home, but she had to sort of sleep in a bed with me because she said I was sort of throwing myself down the staircase and things. So yeah, all very dramatic, none of which I remember. And yeah, so I was in hospital quite a long time, maybe 5 weeks, which is quite a long time in hospital. And yeah, anyway, so let's cheer up the mood again. So the reason I was going to say is that the year after, because they didn't really have they didn't really know what it was, because they didn't know whether it's going to be a one-off. They didn't know whether I was ever going to recover or be myself again. And then a year later, I had the same thing happen. And that's when the doctor said, I think she has bipolar. I've since then done years and 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 years, and years of research, healing, traveling the world, trying to get to the bottom of this, trying to get to my truth, trying to heal it. And I really think that complex post-traumatic stress disorder is a far better diagnosis. I do think it's slightly groundbreaking. I wasn't the first necessarily to discover this. It was an amazing guy called Bessel van der Kolk, and is he Dutch? I don't want to get that wrong, but anyway, he's a dude. And he discovered this from a point of view from someone working as and I might get this wrong again, psychiatrist, but someone who had a lot of empathy and compassion and didn't like the way that patients were being treated. So from his point of view. From my point of view as the patient, I've come to the same conclusion accidentally. So I found another book before his, and as soon as I read the 13 list of symptoms of what they describe as having an emotional flashback, I was like, yeah, doctors would never ever tell you it's complex post-traumatic stress disorder. It's not even recognized in I think they call it the DMI or something like that. It's the Diagnostic Medical Index. I don't know if that's true. I just made that up because I love working out abbreviations. It's one of my geekoid things. You know, like in detective books where you're just like, ooh, what does that mean? I love working out. Anyway, so I like working things out. So I worked out what my illness was, and I was like, no, I think you got it wrong, doctors, and you're looking me up and calling me crazy. I don't think I'm crazy. So I believe that mental health isn't really mental health necessarily. It's much more likely to be trauma. Okay, sometimes, yes, kids do too many drugs before their brain have stopped forming, which is 25, but that wasn't my case. I think it's just trauma. So anyway, and why would people do heavy amounts of drugs in the first place? Because of trauma, because they're trying to numb stuff. So it is trauma. If you link it back, it's all childhood stuff. And this isn't about blaming the parents. This is about potentially going, is the system that we have that incorporates parenting working very well? Probably not. Anyway, long story. So, skipping forward, I did every kind of healing thing, but I never was into anything like a lot of people these days are doing ayahuasca. It's a bit hipster, but I've been a little bit of averse to those kind of things because I didn't feel, and I'm very in touch with my body because of doing all this healing work, that I didn't sense that my body, I figured it would be too much. And I'm a very cautious person. It's like, if I'm not 100% sure, do not proceed. Which is why it took me 37 years to get a tattoo. And then it didn't even hurt. And I was like, disappointment. Anyway, so I did try psilocybin in the end, a very small dose. And wow, I have to say. And I don't encourage anything. I believe you're on your own healing journey. Don't follow mine. I don't have a prescription. I don't have a plan. The plan is that you make a decision that you are willing to heal, number one. Number two, you take yourself on your own journey. You have the patience to listen to your body, and then you have the courage to follow the wisdom that it gives you. That's it. If you get those three things, you're kind of, ready to go. And you got to be curious like a child. You've got to have that curiosity. If you're not really curious, then most people just go, oh, well, I'm happy with what the doctor said and I'll just take the medication. Just, wasn't my thing. So I was too curious. I was like things don't just turn up for a reason and it's like, oh, you're stuck with this. I was like, nah, that just seems way too, I don't know, nah. Anyway, I've got a guitar here that I can't really play. I have busked with it, funnily enough, not being able to play, but to make money for when I've seen homeless people. I'm like, do you want me to just, I just happened to be carrying me. Anyway, I'm not going to tell that story right now because it's like 9 o'clock at night and save it for another vlog. And you have to remind me because I probably forget. But anyway. Is it even in tune? I was going to learn, but I just always found it a bit cumbersome. It's like, oh, I gotta get my arm, get your tit over the top. It's just a little bit big for me. I'm a little bit petite. I just want it to be a mini size. And I Oh, hello. Camera disappeared. So funny when that happens. Okay. My computer. I don't know, we're still here. Yeah, anyway, it's just too big, it just needs to shrink. Because my boob gets squashed underneath it, which is very uncomfortable. So I need to put my boob in that bit there. So yeah, it's just not very comfortable for me. So I was going to sell it, but the problem is, I don't think I am now. Oops, sorry, I just smashed it. Because it's actually got a really good place in my heart, because I got that back in 2008 when maybe the second time I had a breakdown. Or the first time, maybe it was the first time I had a breakdown. I'm not really sure. It's just so many now, I'd have to work it out in the order. But basically, I just couldn't live with my parents, so I was just like, okay, this isn't going to work. So I think my ballet teacher offered me money, my ex-ballet teacher offered me money to get a deposit for my flat, and I don't think I accepted it, I think I just went, and I just rented, and I just was like, right, okay, let's just, get on with life and everything. And that was the moment when I decided to quit ballet at the age of, I don't know what it was, 26 or 27. And yeah, it was a big deal. It was a big deal. It was like my whole life, my whole identity was a ballet dancer, and I didn't know who I was if I wasn't a ballet dancer. So buying the guitar is very symbolic, because I didn't know who I was if I wasn't a ballet dancer. So I was like, right, well, let's just do everything. I set up a Pilates business, and I started making a lot of money just running around the underground, teaching here, teaching there, like one-to-one, teaching in a gym, going one-to-one, like from 8 a.m. till 10 at night. And I had enough money that I could like have had painting lessons, like one-to-one painting lessons. I had guitar lessons in the park with some guy from a band. I just did acting bits again, did just anything and everything, just to see who I was and what I was supposed to be doing. So yeah, it was a good year. That was before the recession, when people started thinking that Pilates was a luxury. So it was a great year. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know why the hell I started talking about psilocybins, because is that how you say it? Psilocybin. Oh my god, I'm so innocent, it's ridiculous. Psilocybin, yeah, she got it right. Who knew? So I don't know, things come into my head and I share it. That's the point, isn't it? It's the authenticity challenge. So yeah, anyway, Mama Mushroom, wow. I don't know what these things are like, recreation. I'm sure they're beautiful, and I'm sure they open your mind up to the expansiveness and the wonder of the universe. Most people say they go and look at a tree and they just kind of know all the answers of the universe. Sounds fantastic. I don't have the guts yet to do that. Have done it as a healing thing though, and I purged tears, almost destroyed my friend's t-shirt. Yeah, shocked the hell out of him. He'd never seen anything like it. So obviously it was a really good release. But the message that I got during that time was, you have to let go of the past. Yeah, it was amazing. Amazing session. So yeah, you have to let go of the past. And yeah, that has been a challenging one, until my niece said to me, I really want you to be more positive about the family. Hearing it from her, someone who I love with all my heart, and I would do anything for, I was like, okay, if that's what you want me to do, I'm going to do it for you. And that decision in itself has opened a whole door of healing, because there has been some real anger towards my family, because they didn't think they were there for me during these 10 years that I've been through, more, probably 20 years. Didn't feel like they've really quite been there in the way that I wanted. But you know what, sometimes you're not meant to be rescued. And same thing with finding a man, this whole thing about women are supposed to like, wait for their Mr. Prince Charming or whatever. It's like, no, you got to rescue yourself. Like, because that whole thing about being rescued, I think actually in a weird way what my parents were doing, consciously or unconsciously, and I think they're amazing now when I think about it this way, no different to when we were 4 years old, and I think they would throw us in the swimming pool and just be like, you got to learn to swim. We're really good swimmers now. I used to win medals because, like, my dad has this attitude of sink or swim, which I've always thought is too tough. And I've always envied the Italian families where they're like, you know, don't know, just over the top kind of thing. But, you know, I don't know. Yeah, I'm getting it now. I'm grateful for it now. And I had this feeling of love from spending time with my niece and nephew, and on the train back, I just, even the woman next to me was pissed because, like, when I got on, I was like, you're one of those annoying people that, like, she's sitting in your window seat and you're like, that's my window seat sort of thing. You know? I just say, oh, I think that's my number. And they look at you as if they want to kill you, which is, so you're just like, so anyway, I tried to ignore that, and I actually had an amazing amount of writing on the train, and I haven't picked up my book, and I edited it, and I even wrote a blog, and then I wrote all these amazing things that I want to happen for the rest of the year, but I wrote them as if they'd already happened, like as if they were a memory, and it was like, oh, it was beautiful, you know, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna do all these things to my house, and oh, it's just heaven. It was so beautiful, and yeah, so I feel really in my heart, which is amazing. Like, I came home and the washing machine is like bust, and if I open it, the water's going to go all over the floor and flood the kitchen floor. Let's wait till tomorrow. And then I realised that I tried to put it on spin cycle. This is really boring, but this is life, hey? So, didn't work. Some FO5 thing, googled that, like, oh, it's like a block pipe, clearly not going to be working that at 11 o'clock at night. Okay, we'll try and deal with that tomorrow. And I was like, you know what, I might even deal with that myself, because normally what I do is I just go, and just I freak out, and then I need an answer immediately. But actually the sheets are probably going to be ruined because, you know, the guy put in red with my, I have this thing, fancy sheet, but that fancy sheet is probably going to be tie-dye now, which is fine. We will embrace that because I'm in such a good mood. I don't give no shits. So that feels good. So yeah, I feel great. And my cat's received lots of love, and she's sitting all curled up now, having played a few games with me and had some strokes, and that feels good because they seem quite happy. Marvin, my cat's gone out in the rain. No idea why, but yeah, that's a really good feeling to come home and the cats have been cared for. And this cat sitter guy who stayed at my place had left me some rose spray as a little present and some incense. He's even left me some little socks and things. It's really cute. Left me yogurt in the fridge, and yeah, like, so that's really super sweet. So yeah. Yeah, it's nice when people do things like that. It's not his fault about the machine. Shit happens, but I will sort it out tomorrow. It's a nice attitude because, if I do say so myself, because normally my attitude is like, oh, everything goes wrong. Oh, I can't afford to replace that. Or I will go into the negative, and just to go like, you know what? Doesn't matter. If it doesn't work, I just take my stuff to the laundrette. There's a nice French lady there. I can practice my French. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's not a big deal. Oh, I'm feeling so good. I do love this. I do love it when I feel this good. It's quite rare. No, that's not true. I shouldn't have found that, but it has been rare. It's been a tough time. Anyway. It's been raining back here in England. It feels like it's winter already, and I don't even mind because I've decided I'm going to, as soon as I start bringing some money, I am going to turn this house into, I'm not going to tell you because it's a surprise, I'm going to turn it into the most awesome place, so that if it's winter and I don't want to go out in the dark, because I don't often like it in the winter, and I'm here for a bit, because my niece has requested me here at Christmas, I'm going to make this the most awesome cabin to hang out with, but I'm not going to tell you because it's a surprise what I'm going to do with it. Anyway, I'm feeling good, so it's been nice talking to you.